Yes.
Namaste. Welcome to one more episode of Kautilyan Psychology and its application to personal and professional lives. We've heard the famous expedient, the sutra saying Sama, Dana, Bhed, and Danda. And as I mentioned multiple times before, it is not Dharma, but it is Dana, right? We've said that earlier. Now, many people want to know where does this come from? So I am going to give you evidence. In the Kautilya Arthashastra 1.13.24, the sutra goes, Tushtan Arthamanabhyam Ujayet. Atushtan Sama Dana Bheda Danda Sadhayet. Now we have very clear sutras stated by Acharya Chanakya which mention these four experiences, correct? And out of those, we've already spoken about Sama, we've spoken about Daan at length. So first of all, I want to start by thanking you audiences for all the inputs that you've been giving on these videos. I look forward to more and more of your comments and how you are applying it, also your doubts and questions that some of you have been asking from time to time. Now it's time to move to Bhed. So first clarification once again, Bhed is not a negative connotation necessarily. Let me repeat that. Bhed is not by definition a negative expedient. We have made it so. In fact, Bhed is one of those very, very interesting experience or approaches which are quite mixed in nature. And because it is so advanced, therefore it requires people to be a lot more experienced to be able to apply this. So you may ask, experienced in what? So, as opposed to people thinking of it as a motivational theory of Acharya Chanakya, no, it is not. Or thinking of it as a conflict management framework, maybe to a small extent. But think of it as a relationship management approach. And Acharya has told us that, right? Because Tushtan are those who are engaged, those who are satisfied, those who are contented. Or Tushtan are those who are not contented, not engaged, not satisfied, all the terms that we use in our corporates. How to make them contented, how to make them more positive. So consider that to make employees more positive, more satisfied, we can use Bhed. So time to take examples from our mythology, and then in this continuing series, I'm going to give you tips and tricks and how to use Bhed meaningfully. And a lot of examples that you may have already used without realizing. So let's look at what is Bhed. How was this applied? First, in a positive way. Many people may have quoted Jambavan and Hanumanji hundreds of times, right, in the Ramayana. And what was the episode or the incident where people remember? People remember that while Hanumanji sat alone on a rock and the entire Vanar Sena was discussing that how in the world are we going to reach from this point, the extreme end of Bharat, to Lanka, which is several thousands of yojanas away. Right? You remember that? And what did Jambavan do? Jambavan said, if there's anyone who can do it, it is Hanuman. And so Jambavan decides to act on it, and he goes to Hanumanji and he reminds him that, look, there are so many of us Vanars, and everyone can leap. Everyone has the ability to leap. But nobody has the ability to leap with the power that you have. And especially because you have been blessed at birth itself. And remember, you are Vayu's son. Now you may say, how is this Bhed? And this was followed by Hanumanji recollecting and understanding his own power, his ability to jump across. and he was able to do it with great aplomb. Right? Now let me explain to you what is Bhed. Bhed does not mean divide and rule. Bhed means differential treatment. Let me repeat that. Bhed means differential treatment. If Sama is conciliation and Dana is circulation, then Bhed is differentiation, more suitably differential treatment. Differential treatment can be in both ways, which is when you differentiate from a group and make out one person to be having more special abilities than the rest. That's also Bhed. But it can also be applied in a negative way when your purpose is not correct and you are doing it to differentiate someone as, how do I break this chap away from the group? Then it becomes negative. So everything is a matter of purpose, my dear friend, and that is exactly what happened several times in the Mahabharata. Right? I'm going to give you more episodes the next time, so watch out for the clarification of how Bhed can be used in a meaningful manner to build relationships. Namaste.